All right, welcome back. So working from our floor plan that we created in the last video, we are now going to go back to our perspective view here, and we're going to make this thing three-dimensional. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get rid of my hatches. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's create a copy of this on a new layer. So I'm going to create a layer here. I'm going to call this layer 2D arc. Okay, change object layer on these by right clicking, and they change to red. I can turn them off and on. Okay, I'm going to now copy this, Control C, and then I'm going to put this back onto this layer, change object layer, select the object, change object layer. We'll call this layer curves. And there we go. And you can see if I go Control V, I've now added the red to it, and I can turn that off. And now I've got the purple. So I will always have the original architecture plan underneath, and we can use that for reference or whatever we need to. And now I can just go ahead and delete the hatch. Okay. So first step is let's take our plot plan here and turn this into a ground plane. So I will just click on it and use my extrude. I can click on that and go negative. Let's do 20 feet, enter. So that creates a block. That's like that. And now with our new tools that we've got with Rhino 8, I can begin to do some other stuff. Let's push down the area where we're going to have the water. So if I use push pull, now that I've created a ground plane, these curves are now on a plane, so I can push pull and hit enter, and then I'll go in. How deep is our reflecting pool? I don't know. It's probably like 4 feet deep, right? So we'll go 4 foot, enter. Okay. That also shows me that, maybe I should make it a little bit smaller. So let's do this. Undo. The reflecting pool will end where? Let's end it. Make sure it's, let's do maybe midpoint on this. Where's mid? Right here. Straight across to there. Okay. And then I'm going to do, take this curve and let's just offset it. 5 foot, enter. Oops. Curve, offset to there. Okay. And then I'm just going to, you know what? I'm going to move this out a little bit more. Oh, turn my grid snap back on so I'm locked into a nice dimension. Okay, that's good enough, I think. So trim, cutting mark here, and that curve, trim it out there. Whoops. Why did it? Let's go fillet. Radius 0. Okay. Fillet, radius 0. Okay. Fillet, radius 0. That's weird, huh? Let's go ahead and explode that. There we go. Now that worked. All right. So now let's push pull our pool in. And enter, and then 48 inches. Okay, so there's our reflecting pool. Awesome. Next, we're going to take our pool and let's create some water with it. So Control Shift or Command Shift if you have a Mac, click, and then I'm going to extrude this up, and I want like a 2-inch lip where the water is anymore. So I'm going to go 46 inches up, extrude 46. And we don't use push pull for this because we want it to create a separate secondary object. Ooh, it didn't though. So then I'll go extrude surface, enter. And then click on the surface, enter. And I'm going to go 44 inches. Yeah, and that makes a separate one. Okay. All right, let's do the walls here. So push pull this, enter. And how high is our ceiling going to be? I think it needs to be a nice division of, we've got, well, let me see here. Let's do 15 feet. So push pull right here. Nope. There we go. Enter 15 foot. Enter. Okay. So that is going to be the height of that room. Fantastic. All right. Next, I'm going to grab the curve right here. I'm going to move this exterior curve up. Actually, no, I'm just going to leave it like that. It's fine. For now, we'll see. Okay, so next step is to make, that's right, the steps. But I'm going to first go ahead and create the mezzanine on the top here. So if I push pull this flat area up 14 feet, enter. Okay. And then I want to have these steps go up to that. Yes, I can kind of push them up one at a time, or I could do an array and kind of figure out. So if I do one step, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and rectangle all the way to there. And each step I figure is going to be 9 inches. So 9, enter, extrude that up 9. Okay. And then I'm just going to take that, move it from this point to that point there. And I'm going to move it down -9, enter. Okay. And then I'm going to draw a line from this point here to that point here. And I'm going to array, enter, this object, enter. Let's do array, what, curve. Select object to array, and enter. Select curve path. Okay. And then the number of them, 20. Enter. And perfect. So you want to see it again? Let's do it again. So I already did the math. If I do 9-inch risers on a 24-inch step, it will go up perfectly this dimension, this amount of steps to get to a 14-foot high level. So you have to do that math first, okay? That's how I know how many of these to do, and that's how I know this distance right here. Basic math. Okay, so array, curve, select the object to array, enter, select the curve, and then the item distance, the number of items, 20, and then we hit enter. All right. And you can see also these are kind of edge to edge, which I might not like as much as I think. So let me go ahead and undo that. Now I'm going to actually just pull down this bottom here. Let me do it like maybe 3 inches. And then I'm going to array curve. So with the object selected, then it's asking me for the path. Click on the path, curve. And then the number of them, I'm going to do 20. And because I've done the math, I know that this bottom extrusion is right at that floor level, and I can just delete that one. And then I've got basically 20 steps here. And I pulled down that bottom so that there's a bit of overlap on each one of them. So I can Boolean union this whole thing into a single piece. And then we can Boolean union them all together like I just said. And merge all coplanar faces just to kind of clean that up a little bit more. All right. And then the next thing I want to do is actually push pull. Let's see if this works. No, it's going to do this whole thing. Yeah, never mind. Let's draw a rectangle from here all the way up to here. Click on that rectangle, extrude it up, and then we'll Boolean difference out that. Click on this, enter. And I've got it set so my Boolean difference keeps the previous object. And also, yeah, so it keeps the previous object. All right, so that is going to be our little root into the bottom here. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I actually want to create a bit of, like, this is going to be open underneath it, like, so you can kind of walk into it or walk underneath it. So I'm going to draw a rectangle, and I'm going to use the auto C-plane tool here. So if I turn on auto C-plane and then Control-Shift-Click on an object, it moves the grid right onto that object. And then I'm going to draw a rectangle from this endpoint to this endpoint. And then let's see if this works. But push, pull, click, and just go all the way through. And it should, yep, it did. It just knocks it all the way off. And so now I've got this as a separate kind of mezzanine type object up here, and it matches up with the step below it. All right, cool. So I've got my floating area here. I've got my pool. I got my site plan. I'm going to go ahead and delete this curve. The next step is to make the second floor. So my second floor is going to start by moving. Whoops, move all of this. Move. Oh, and that. Come on, grab it all. And this. Move from this point here, placing it right onto that point there. Oh. All right. And we can't push pull this one because it is not a closed surface. But we don't want to anyway. So we do want to create a floor for it, but we'll do that in a second. So let's go ahead and select these curves here that are our walls. Okay. And then we extrude those up, and let's do another 14 foot. Okay. And then this one, we select all of these. And it looks like, is it right? Yeah, no, it is right. Okay. And then curve on the inside curve there. Oh, that's all joined together. Nice. And then we can lift this up. Oh, let's do this. Forgot. I think this point here. Let me isolate this just so we can see what it's doing. So these are, yeah, those are our curves. Okay, let's go ahead and extrude this up 10 inches. And that gives us our little mezzanine area. Bring everything back by right-clicking on our light bulb or whatever. Okay. Awesome. All right. And then we've got our ceiling here. So our ceiling, I also want to add a skylight to it, but I'll do that in a minute here. So let's go ahead and join these together. I'm going to turn off auto seaplane here and move this object. That's right, I forgot it is an offset of 6 feet. So from the midpoint here, this direction, 6 foot. Enter. I think it was 6 feet. We'll find out in a second. Move to that midpoint. Yeah. Or was it 8 feet? If it was 8 feet, I can just move it 1 foot that way. Okay. All right, so now the question is, what do we want to do with the roof line? So let's go ahead and extrude it up, maybe 16 inches, so it's a little thicker. And that's pretty flat and kind of boring, right? So let's go ahead and see what we can do to make it a little bit more interesting here. Let's rotate it slightly. Let's rotate it at a 10 degree. Well, let's do a negative 10 degrees. Okay. And then we'll just kind of pull it up a little bit above it. That's quite severe, actually. Bring it flat again. And always using dimensions really helps to make sure you don't do something crazy. So negative 5 degrees. So just like a real subtle roof line. But it still looks pretty dynamic. Okay. Next thing we'll do is we'll I kind of want to create like a box all the way around this. It's all glass right here. A lot of glass and a new skylight on the top here that kind of goes all the way down into the bottom floor. And then like maybe some sort of like a little atrium. I don't know. So this is where we get a little creative here. So I'm going to take one of these curves that are right here. Let's go ahead and grab those curves. Curve. Oh. Let me hide this, because then I'll be able to see my curves. Yeah, okay. So these are 10 inches thick. I know that. I'm going to actually join these all together here. Join. And then I'm going to offset. And I'm going to offset in 5 inches. So it's like right in the middle there. Okay. While I've got that selected, I'm going to bring back this. And then I'm going to move it from a point here to a point there. So I've got that curve now set, offset right there, and I can extrude it up. So I'm going to go extrude, curve, enter. Oh, curve, enter. And then you see where it says to a boundary. I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to click on this surface underneath here and watch what happens. That now created a extrusion that lines up perfectly with my ceiling here. Great. So let's do some, I want to create like some angle kind of pieces on here, because you can't have, I mean, you can in CAD just have like a giant piece of glass that's impossible to build and it looks really impressive, but let's add some kind of braces around this object. So around the glass, hide, and select this curve, and I'm going to isolate it. Okay, and I'm actually also going to set a C-plane to this just because it's hovering in space. I can set it back later on. So I'm going to go to the C-planes tab here, and then I'm going to set it to a 2 point, so I can go here, I'm going to go mid to perpendicular mid, and that now my C-plane is right on that object, right in where it's floating in space. Then I'm going to draw a rectangle. Probably, let's do 2, enter, 2, enter. It's too small. Let's do a center rectangle, and I'm going to do 5, enter, 5, enter. Okay, so that's half the size of the wall there. Okay. And then I want to, let's see if I can array it. Array curve. Select object, enter curve. And then see the number of them I've got here, 20. Doesn't look quite even, about 21. I got a different idea. So let me explode this curve, and then I'm going to do array curve, select the curve, and I'm going to do 10, enter on that curve, enter, and then I'm going to do it on the same on the other side. So I'll just mirror to the other side. And then I'll just do array curve. And this time I'm going to do 4. I think it's going to duplicate. Yeah, I've got 2 of them there, so I'll just click on one of them. Curve, delete. Yeah. And if you think you might have duplicate objects in your scene, go ahead. Oop, I did this somewhere. You can go ahead and go up to edit, select objects, and find duplicate objects, and then hit delete if you have any duplicates. Okay, and then up here I'm going to do an array. Let me just get rid of this one. Delete. Array curve, select the curve. Oh wait, select the object, select the curve, and this time I'm going to do 6. Okay. Spacing's not going to be quite even, but whatever. Close enough for, we're just making it look cool. All right, so now we've got to go back to our standard C-plane. I'm just going to go to a top-down view here, this view right here. That's going to be our standard, back to where it was, and bring back our object. Okay, I'm going to hide this and even hide this. And we just need to have our ceiling there, because what we're going to do next is we're going to actually extrude all of these cubes, or these rectangles, or squares, I guess they would be, up. Just make sure we get them all. I'm left to right selecting and holding down shift. Okay. Looks like all of them. Yep. Then extrude, curve, enter, and then to a boundary right here, and then click on the boundary. All right. And then bring everything back. And now we've got like panels of glass up there. Very good. And so those will give it a little bit of a frame, make it look a little bit more plausible. All right, and then the last thing I want to do is I actually want to take this glass and I want to make it thicker. So it right now is, oops, hide. Oh, you know what? This isn't glass. It's a solid. So I'm going to go ahead and extract surface. Select extract surface, select that one, enter, delete. Extract surface that one, enter, delete. Okay. Because when I extruded up the curve, it made it a solid object, which is fine. Now we offset surface, enter, and let's see, we want to do distance of 1/4 inch thick. Solid, yes. Corner sharp, distance 0.25. And then just hit enter. Enter. Okay. So that just gives our glass some thickness. And it does change the offset on it a little bit, but whatever. I don't care. It's good enough for me. And then maybe what I'll do here is I'll also duplicate this edge here and use it to create a frame for the top of the window. Okay. And then enter, offset, or let's go, and let's see, both sides, yes. 3, enter. Actually, we got to join all those curves together, the ones we just duplicated. Join, offset, both sides, distance 3, enter. Why didn't it go both sides? Oh, I know. These aren't all touching. That's why. Because I selected some of them from the inside and some of them from the outside. So fillet is 0, 0. And you can't fillet it because it's got an angle on it. All right. So I'm just going to delete these two. Draw a line. Now I should be able to join them. Okay. Offset. Both sides. 3. Cool. Now I can extrude these up. Or down, actually. Negative 5. Yes, that's what I wanted. And bring everything back. So now I've got a little frame at the top, too. All right. So you can see we're kind of starting to plug away at things. It's looking better and better. We've got this big area of light up here, which also allows us to have lots of wall space all the way around here, not interrupted by windows or anything like that. And then I can also even do a skylight. I want to do a skylight that goes all the way through the building. So let's go ahead and hide this, and then Let's isolate this. I'm going to draw a rectangle inside of here. And I'm going to hold down the shift button and just, with the grid snap on, so that I'm doing it in increments of inches and stuff. All right, like that. And then I'm going to extrude this all the way up high, bring everything back, and Boolean difference. Select the objects you want to keep, left to right select, enter, and get rid of. Click, delete. And so now that should go all the way. Did not go through. I missed this one. Dang it. Control Z. Hide. Oh, I see why. Let's just go ahead and pull it. Boolean difference. Click on this. Get rid of that. Delete. There we go. And for some reason, yeah, my ceiling height is a little off here. I think I did 15 inches and forgot I did, or 15 feet or something like that. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to move it down so it lines up there. All right. So that's going to give me lots of natural light, which makes it very easy to light the space when you're dealing with a lot of natural light. And bringing everything back. Cool. And then I do need to make this into a window. So I'm going to draw another rectangle from this point. Actually, let's do auto C-plane again. Auto C-plane. Control Shift click here. Rectangle. And then I can draw it and it goes right on that surface. Curve. I'm going to offset this for a, not both sides. Both sides. No, both sides. Okay. Select the curves, extrude down. Okay. And then Z, enter, S, enter to zoom on the selected object. And then I'm going to turn grid snap off and narrow this a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to find that curve that I made earlier. And I'm going to use a little extrusion here to make it solid and then bring it down. Into our window space. Okay, so that's gonna be glass. All right. Okay, so now we're gonna make the doors, which basically it's the same principle as our windows were, right? So I'm gonna draw a rectangle on this surface. So with my auto C-plane turned on, Control Shift click on this rectangle and go 12 foot, enter, and then I want it to be 10 feet tall, enter. All right, so then all we gotta do is push pull this, enter all the way through. And so that gives me what looks more like a door on this end over here. But I actually kind of like this opening to opening to opening. And so I might do something with this. Like maybe it's inspiring me to make some sort of like outdoor little area where you can stand on top of the water, maybe like with a clear, I don't know, shelf or something. I'm going to leave it like that just as a placeholder, because the reason why this gap is here is actually because this is water again, remember. And you know what? This actually might be a good time. I know we're just getting started on the doors and stuff downstairs in the gallery space here, but I think what we can do is we can start labeling some stuff. So I'm going to bring in my side panel here and my layers. And on my layers tab here, I'm going to make a bunch of new layers. And I'm going to just start naming things. See, I don't have anything on layer 3, right? Okay, cool. So layer 3, I'll call it roof. And I'm going to turn my caps lock on. And then I'm going to select the roof. Right click on it and change object layer. And I'm just turning these layers off, and as I add it to the layer, the parts will disappear, and that's how I know what's left that still needs a layer. So I'm going to do this one will be glass. Okay, and I'll select anything I know to be glass. Oops. Turn the default one back on, turn this off, and change object layer. Great. Disappeared. And then I'm going to call these frames. And I can actually just... Okay, I'm going to go to edit, select objects. I'm going to get rid of all these curves that are in the scene right now. Select object curves, and I'm going to put them on the curves layer, change object layer. Okay. So that way now I know I'm just grabbing these left to right select here in the box. And that's all going to be frames. So create a new layer, frames. And the way I do layers is I think of anything I'm going to have as a different material will be on a different layer. And then change object layer and turn it off. Oh, and I also like to change the colors of these layers as we start to, these ones all are black. Okay. Top, floor, walls. And then this one, actually, remember, since we pulled this up from our base, it is actually considered connected to the whole site plan here. So let's separate that out. So first I'm going to hide this, or actually let's put this on the water layer, right? Let's go water. And of course, we got to make it like a blue color. Change object layer. Okay, so we want all of this on a separate layer. So I'm going to extract surfaces, and I'm just going to grab all of these. Did I get, maybe I missed the tops here. Let's make sure. Yeah, we want to make sure we got all of it. And then we hit enter. Okay, and then I would join all that back together again. So we basically just took those surfaces off. So now if I click on it, you can see. And if we wouldn't have joined them, they would have all been extracted separately. So that's why we used the join command. Join command used for surface edge to surface edges, and that's what we were dealing with. So join worked. That is, yes, the difference between join and Boolean union. Boolean union, solid to solid. Join is edge to edge. Okay, so Call this first floor walls. Change object layer. Oh, select it first, duh. And color. Let's go with. All right, that's fun. And hide. All right, and then this is actually going to be the floor. So I do want to extract. Like, are we going to have the same flooring style on the outside as the inside of this room? I don't think so. So I'm going to go ahead and change object layer, or no, I'm sorry, extract surfaces. I'm going to extract this one and this one. Enter. Merge these. I guess that's not coplanar, but oh, because it's separate. Join. Merge. Yeah, there you go. Merged all the layers. Okay, and then we go first floor. Okay. And then we'll call this plot for plot of land. Okay. Oh, we're missing a step. That's weird. One more layer, and this one is, you guessed it. It could actually be that this one was underground, right? Yeah, it was. Okay, so we don't need that step. Okay. And then this is top mezzanine. Oh, don't use yellow, because when you highlight things, yellow is what it highlights with. So see how it's hard to tell if you highlight something and it's yellow, because the highlight is yellow when it's highlighted. So orange will work though. Okay. Turn that off, stairs off. All right, everything being gone means we've got everything on individual layers, which is just good for the soul. All right, so let's get back to business here. We are working on just the windows and stuff down here. So let's get rid of all of our ceiling stuff here. Anything that we don't need, I'll hide. Actually, you know what? Let's just turn off those layers, right? Stair, balcony, stairs. We need the plot. First floor walls. First floor. Water, we need that. Top, nothing. Frames, no. Glass, no. Roof, no. And then I could just center mouse click, right click on this to bring back anything that's hidden. And now they're hidden, but hidden over here. All right, so let's do the windows next to it. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle on this surface by auto C-planing, Control-Shift-Click, rectangle. And I'm going to want this window to be maybe 6 foot, enter, by 48 inches, or 4 foot. Okay. Yeah, it just reminds you that it is a big building. Yeah, and I think I'm going to want these, you know what? Let's do something a little weird with these windows. Let's make them super narrow, kind of rectangular. So let's do another one here. Rectangle. From here, I'm going to go 8 feet, enter, by 24 inches. Yeah. Cool. And like we can just have those go all the way around this like in a pattern. That would be kind of cool. So move this from mid here, find the midpoint on this thing. Okay. And then I'm going to draw another line from here to here, so I have another midpoint right there. And then I can copy from the midpoint on this one to the midpoint on this one. And then grab that curve again, and then mirror, enter, draw a line by clicking here to there. So we have 3 of those windows. All right, so now I think what we'll do is we'll just mirror these to the other side. Mirror from the midpoint here straight down. All right. And then the next thing to do is to grab all of these curves. I can do all this all at once. And go ahead and extrude all the way through. Okay, I'm going to grab these 3 and move it just a little bit that way so that it's going all the way through. Makes the Boolean difference work better. Oh, we have an interesting point here. I don't think that this is going to work. Yeah. So right now, if we look at this thing isolated here, you can see one of the other things that we might have an issue with is, yes, there is no, if we look at it, maybe rendered will show it best. Yeah, see, it's hollow on the inside there, which is not ideal. So instead of being able to Boolean union, we're going to actually have to break the Boolean down a little bit, and using split, we can kind of build a similar situation to a Boolean difference, I mean. So let's go ahead and split this object with these objects. Enter. Okay? So now you can see it's split out. But the problem is, again, if I hide this, or let me just copy to the clipboard here, I still have all of these pieces, which actually isn't that bad of a thing because I can use those to make windows, you know, if I wanted to. Maybe just delete one of them off each side here. Yeah. And then I'll just move these 3, -5. So we go halfway because the wall thicknesses are 10 inches. And then +5 with these ones. Or no, it's negative again. So the next step is to try to build some sort of cap on these. So I can't just cap it because it caps it like that. Let's go ahead and hide. Let me just isolate this. Make it easier to see. Okay. So in order to cap it, we do have to put a surface on each side and join it. So let's do that. So, or we could Control V, bring back these, and instead split these with this. What that does now is that gets rid of, it cuts around these. And what's left is the perfect interior of those. So then we join together our surfaces, and we've got the equivalent of a Boolean union, but on surfaces instead. So this is a little bit more on how to play with surfaces versus solids. So now with the glass, what we can do is we can just extrude both sides, these surfaces. So if I want extrude, I can just click on that and go 0.25. And you're never going to notice that it's 0.25 off. All right, and then the last thing I want to do to this room is I'm going to just do like a crazy big window on either side of this. So let's just Control-Shift-Click on it with Auto C-Plane on, and just draw, maybe turn the grid snap on, just draw a rectangle. Grid snap's going to keep it in normal dimensions. Okay. And then I'm going to move it from my midpoint here. And where's my midpoint here? Oh, turn my grid snap off just so I can. Maybe it is in the middle. Close enough though, right? I'll just call it good. Push pull all the way through. All right, and then I'll just dupe edge on this edge, move it -5, so it's right in the middle, and extrude curve. Oop, it's going the wrong direction. I can actually change that just by clicking here. And then if I click on this and then another time here, it'll change the direction. And then click on that endpoint to make it the perfect size. And then offset surface 0.25. And then we can mirror it. Oh, let me turn Auto C-Plane off. There we go. Because we needed it to be in a top view to mirror it the correct direction. Okay? And then we can put this on glass layer. All right, and then the last thing I want to do to this right now is put a door on here, and I want to do kind of a cool door design. And I think maybe it'll just be like a bunch of like almost like a stained glass, but maybe kind of a interesting geometric pattern. So I want to build that, but I don't want to have to look at anything else. So I'm going to draw a rectangle. Control Shift click on this first. So I've got my C-plane attached to it. Draw a rectangle from here to there. Oops. Okay. Where did it go? Did I just draw it? No. It's up here. Why is it up there? Sorry. All right. Rectangle from here. Auto C-plane back on. Sorry. Rec. Cool. And that auto C-plane is set to that. So I'm going to leave it there and isolate this. All right. So this is my door area. So let's just be a little bit creative here. Firstly, though, I'm going to make it slightly smaller. Make sure grid snap is off, just because there should be a threshold, like, you know, just a slight offset. It makes it look more real. Okay, I'm turning auto C-plane off, and then I'm going to set the C-plane. Under C-planes tab here, just go to 2, and I'm going to go mid, perp. Okay. Now I don't have to worry about the auto C-plane happening whenever I'm doing geometry. And yeah, let's go ahead and offset. And let's go in 3 inches. Yes. Click. All right. So that's going to be the overall frame. And I think I'm just going to start drawing some lines, straight lines, with the near. All right, and then I'm going to draw, actually, these are just going to be rectangles. So, ooh, crud, what happened? So this rectangle right here, I want it to be a little bit smaller. Okay, so I've got this is the line in the middle, but the jams have to, oops, have a little clearance between them. So here. All right, so now I'm going to take these two and these two, which are my frames for the exterior, and I'm going to extrude 4 inches. Fine, let's just do these two first. Okay. Boolean union them together. Okay, draw a rectangle. Let's just draw lines. Line straight up. And this is really why I love the push-pull tool so much. Just even these little simple things that look like they should be simple sometimes were more difficult with without that tool. Because then you get a like rectangle, Boolean, extrude, and Boolean difference, and get all those measurements right. But now you just go line, line, push pull. Okay. Merge all coplanar faces. Okay, so now I want to actually offset all these lines by maybe something like 0.5. Yeah, let's do 0.5 inches. Let's isolate this. Okay. And by, just the reason that just because they offset and they're diagonally, some of these lines do not meet straight across. So I'm going to actually try to find best way to overlap all of them so I get them all. Extend, right? You can just extend all of them to okay. And then I'm going to draw a surface. And really the key to this whole thing is everything has got to be flat on that grid structure. Because then what I can do is I can push pull I can push pull all of those out, and then I've got this one surface here that I'm going to come back to in a minute. But the other thing I'm going to actually do is I'm going to save this as a city. And I'm going to use it in my background later on. So I'm going to duplicate that, just Control C, Control V. Okay, maybe move it over a little bit. And create a new layer and call it city. And change object layer. Hide. But this one, I'm going to actually just explode and delete all of these, because all I wanted was this network of surfaces that I've got right here. Because I can take those, look at all that. I can take all those and extrude them out. So it's all now one piece. And so I can extrude this 2 inches and make it like a cool looking thing like that. And then I can just do this, bring it back. All right. Re-isolate it, and then we got to do a little bit more work. We can see on the ends here. I'm going to go ahead and scale it in a little bit. Or no, I just got to... I can move it a little bit this way, huh? Yeah, because it's better if nothing is... Yeah, okay. Cool, so we go split these with this and this, enter. And then we can just cap this and cap this. Now all of those edges that were just cut are inside of here. So if I hide this, you'll be able to see, let me hide this too. Those are all the overlapping parts. Hide this. And this, and we've got those overlapping parts. Delete. Bring everything back and get rid of the curves. Edit. Select objects, curves, put them on the curves layer. And then all you got to do is create a glass panel on the inside of this, and that's easily done just by drawing a surface from the inside of this. And enter brings up the same command back over here. And then we push these two back. Oops. -1. So it was 2 inches, right? Yeah. And then we give it some thickness, offset surface, enter, 0.25. And let's bring back the glass. Let's go ahead and bring everything back. What do you say? Let's have a look. So that's a really complicated frame. I'm going to do some more frame stuff for the rest of the windows, and then we'll come back when it's time to do the art. Let's give it one quick look here, though. Stairs, balcony, okay. And windows are in. Let's bring that city in. Select objects. See what that city does to our scene here. Let's reset our seaplane to the world top. And then shift. And let's bring this thing up. Let's change it into monochrome. Yeah, so far kind of cool looking. All right, let's. I'll be back in a minute with just to show you what the final windows around the outside look like. All right, so here we are. We are getting really close to being done. So the last little detail that I want to add to this is actually kind of going to be a little bit of a design influenced by Kengo Kuma and his Museum of Wisdom, which we've talked about. This is kind of loosely based off of it. If you look at the two, they're not that similar, but you can see kind of the influence there, right? So the area on the side here, he has these kind of like pouring down. They almost look like sections of bamboo. I'm going to do something similar to that, but different shape. But I still want it like cascading to kind of create this repetitive pattern that diffuses light coming into the gallery and museum. And kind of makes a little detail that turns this from being kind of modern and just minimal to something a little bit more contemporary architecture style wise. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm first going to, let's go ahead and hide my city, pop out my layers here, and let's go ahead and hide the city. All right. And then I'm going to go to a right view. Okay, and I'm going to use the command make 2D. So make 2D, and I'm going to select the whole thing and hit enter, and it brings up this, and then it says, okay, projection, view, right, view, okay, and yeah, so then just hit okay. And then from a top view here, you'll see, if I back out right over here, we have our kind of elevation view. And this is 2D now, so you can see. And this is how we're going to actually create our architectural plans when we're completely done with the 3D design elements, so that we can have a real accurate plan based off of any modifications we've made to our drawing. So let's go to top view here. But I'm going to use this now as kind of just a reference for how I'm going to draw these shapes. So starting off, I want to just use the line tool, pop out this side panel here, and I'm going to just type the word line. And I'm going to go from this corner here, ortho off, and turn my grid snap on so that I'm trying. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Select this whole thing. And move, actually no, that's fine. I'll just do it on this grid right here. Line, starting on the grid, and I'll go right here. And I'm just gonna draw it diagonally back
to right about there. All right. And then I'm going to offset that. I want 2 lines, or I could just copy it. So I'm going to hit Alt and kind of maybe right about there. Do the second one. Okay, and then I'm going to draw a rectangle. Like that. Rotate it so it's kind of oriented similar. Turn grid snap back off here. And kind of create a shape here. So this shape is going to be kind of like the roof. So I like that it's like has architectural elements that are matching design details as well. I think it's kind of fun because nobody's really going to see it because, you know, or know that from the get-go just because you're not looking at the roof, you know. All right, and then maybe I'll pull this end up a little bit like that. And just make sure it's kind of centered there. Great. So then I'm going to array this on a curve. Select this curve. And then how many do I want? I want maybe 18. No, maybe 15. And you know what? I think they're too big. Let me make it a little smaller here. Hold down the Shift key. Move this over a little bit. Array curve. Select the curve. Select the object. Oops. Select the object to array. Enter. Select the curve. Okay. And yeah, that's probably fine. 15. Enter. Okay. So that I just was checking the size. Now I'm going to undo this. Undo again. And let's go ahead and extrude this out. Okay. Let's see. Z, enter, S, enter to zoom on the selected. And I'm going to pull this out. Let's do 2 inches. No, too much. 1 inch. Yeah, that's better. And I'm going to keep this geometry flat because it does make things have lower polygon counts when we start getting into you know, real-time rendering and stuff. We want to keep our polygon count low, so I'm not going to do an organic shape here. Okay, so then the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and select my extrusion. Oh, let's go array, curve, select the object, extrusion, enter, curve, enter. Okay, let's find our initial curve we used to design this and put it on the curves layer so it's off. All right, back to a top view here. Now we want to array this along this curve here. So I'm going to left to right select and array curve. Select this curve. There we go. And then the item quantity, I'm going to bump that up to maybe 25. Maybe 30. Let's do 30. There we go. Nice dense array there. All right. So the next thing I want to do after that, hit enter to get out of the command entirely. I want to get rid of some of the ones on the bottom here, left to right select, and kind of get rid of anything that's hanging down too low here. And these are going to go into the water, so it's not a huge problem. It actually looks kind of cool. I think like they're kind of dropping into the water. And then this, I think we'll get rid of too. That last hole. One. Okay. And then I'm going to draw a line. Like right around here. With ortho on shift. And then I want to trim cutting line here, enter all of these off just to get rid of any unnecessary extra length. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and let's see. These are, I want to select just these lines here. So let's go ahead and hide the lines in the background. Hide this stuff, this here, this here. All right, and then I'm going to select all the curves in the scene here. So let's isolate this. Center mouse wheel, click, and click on that. So now we have nothing else in the scene. We've got some polysolids and lines, and I want to select all of the lines. So I'm going to edit, select object, curves, and then I'm going to go pipe with a radius on the pipe of 1/4 inch, so 1/2 inch thick lines. So let's go ahead and look at it in perspective here so you can kind of see. Basically just turn these into like a cable that's going to be holding up the facade here. All right, so now that is pretty much done. I'm going to go, what is this surface here? Delete it. That was a curve that was really, I meant to have elsewhere. Okay, so now let's go ahead and select this whole thing, create a new layer, call it facade. Okay, change object layer. All right, then bring everything back and select objects. And then I want to rotate it this way and rotate it this way. And then move it. Grab this point right here and move it onto our object right there. Okay, and then Z enter, S enter to zoom on it. Go kind of to a top view here and then rotate it to kind of get it in line. Let's actually go to a top view, Z enter, S enter, and try to see how we can get it to fit right on our object here. That looks good. Let's go back to perspective. Okay, looks good. The next step is to do the other side. And the other side's going to have a little bit different detail because you don't want these things to go all the way across, you know, the stairs and stuff. So I want it to kind of notch out, like stop, like right around here. So let's mirror it from the midpoint this way, shift and click. Okay. Let's do that again. Mirror it from midpoint to there. All right. Go to a top view. I want to try to just select that stuff. Let's go back to perspective here. Okay. I'm going to draw a line. Turn up. Let's do line, vertical, enter. Vertical. That's kind of where I want it to stop, right where the... Okay, so we got that and this. Now let's isolate those two. And go to a right view. I can kind of get rid of all of these ones. Okay, bring everything back. And then I actually want this one to kind of curve in a little bit. So let's rotate a little bit this way and then bring it back this way so that it's going into the water. And then this last one I should have got rid of as well. Whoops. All right. Cool. So that is that. Let's turn the city back on. All right. And I'm going to look at it in this new, for Rhino 8, monochrome mode, which I really like. I already added a material for the glass just to make it transparent. That's why you can see through it. Yeah, so this is kind of the building design. I think that the little facade on the outside is a nice little touch, add some detail to it. It's going to make it kind of interesting when we're looking around inside. We're going to have, it diffuses the light, and yeah, I think it looks good. So the next step will be to create the artwork and put it into the museum. So that should do it for this one, and look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you.